welcome. We're so glad you're here for week. I have no idea anymore of school closure webinars, and we're happy to have the middle school and the high school media specialists all together today. Talk about summer reading and end of year and all that good stuff. So we wanted to start off with a summer reading promo smackdown. You've got 2 minutes. Feel free to unmute your microphones and share away with your plans for summer reading, if you have them.
Come on, you know you got something. Reading lists, what's your school talking about?
My school's going to be doing the an optional summer reading program with the SSYRA books. I told them that I can't buy anything because of the freeze, so I gave them the link to the Palm Beach County schools and let them know that it's first come, first serve, so that may not be the best. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so but they're making it optional, and they're letting all the kids know that you know, this isn't going to impact your grade when you come back if you had trouble finding the books. So that's really where we are at Eagles Landing.
Awesome. And I am, just so you know, Alonzo, and if anybody wants it, I am making interactive lists of what SSYRAs and FTRs are available at the public library and at the Mandel Library, and I can send those out if that's something you guys would want. Your kids could just click on the link; it'll take them to the record in the particular library's catalog, and they can check it out from there. So I will send those out today with all of the information that we gather from today.
Another thing we got in the slide deck for later on, and then when you get the slide deck, you'll have the links, or you can go get this yourself from Teaching Books, but they already have all the Sunshine State and FTR books posted in a custom list. Remember, Teaching Books is not an ebook copy of the book, but it's a collection of curated resources that are about those books. And you can use the link if you're doing any kind of online promotion for titles. There might be book trailers or author interviews. You might be able to make something out of those resources to promote your program for Sunshine State. So it's at the end of the slide deck.
Holly, it hasn't really worked with my students, but it might work with some other people's. A few years ago, you might remember Tony Lipsher created the book bingo page, and then Suzette, she kind of jazzed it up for high school. I took that last summer and I created a Google Classroom for book bingo. Mm-hmm. Romeo's a little. Yeah. I created a Google Classroom for book bingo, and I created assignments for each one of the squares. Anyway, it's a good idea. My kids didn't really participate, but maybe some other students would.
It is a good idea. And Tony, we had an elementary session yesterday, and Tony presented that idea again, and really great discovery. Spark, Adobe Spark has templates that are bingo cards, and we started with one of those, and it made a really attractive document. She used she said it was the wedding shower bingo card template, but anyway, she made it, right for elementary school, and it was very pretty. And same thing. So she's doing that again with elementary. If you guys, want to know more how she's doing it, you could email her or pick up the link to yesterday's elementary session. But the Adobe Spark thing made it really easy to make that bingo card, and it was very attractive. So something to look into if you're interested in that.
At Polo Park, they decided they're going to do a mandatory summer reading using the Sunshine State books. And I was directed to put together a summer reading letter to go out, as well as a sheet with a listing of the books with a link to my website where I created a Sunshine State page. And they're going to give them until the end of September, but they're expecting the kids to still do summer reading. Usually I have two other programs that I include in the summer reading, but since we never got to do, any of our incentive awards at the end of the year this year, I hesitate to, offer something for the fall, not knowing what's going to be happening.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense. And they are going to struggle, the kids, and which I feel bad about, but the public libraries being as supportive as they can, they immediately shifted their funding to buying, and I agree, Alonzo, mandatory is going to be difficult because
I know.
the library, it's not, they're not multi-use copies, and so many people find that hard to accept how they work, and they just refuse to listen about it. So,
I did say that to my administration, but they're set on the kids doing mandatory summer reading. So that's the directive that we're following.
well, some of your community was probably willing to order a book from Barnes and Noble or Amazon, for their kids. So maybe.
Mhm.
At Independence Middle, we've always had required reading, but this year our thinking is quite different in the event that many families don't have money. And we're in a high-end community here up at Jupiter. And so we're cognizant of that. We're also cognizant of, we have many families who took advantage of Comcast, the free internet, and they may not have internet after the school.
Oh,
this
that's
school.
a great point, Lisa.
So we are not making anything mandatory as we have in the past 20 years that I've been there. We are making it, encouraging students to read. We're encouraging them to read the Sunshine State books. But at this point, if students read over the summer and they take a quiz or do an activity, whichever the language arts teacher chooses to do, it'll be extra credit. But we are encouraging summer reading, but it will be extra credit. It's, at this point, we're not making anything mandatory. But
Allegra, I hope everybody saw in the chat, Allegra's at Boynton High. She said she's doing a Google Classroom based on Project Lit titles. So
Hello.
I don't know if Allegra wants to talk about that.
How you doing? Pretty good. I'm in a Google meeting right now with LMS. Can I call you back when this is over?
Yeah, just text me what packet that is. All right, that's all I need.
Oh, for which one? Nathan?
Yeah, Nathan.
Okay, I'm gonna send it to you now.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Anyway, Allegra, I'm sorry. Did you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
There you go.
We can.
There you go. Please share.
Hi. Well, I just applied to become a Project Lit chapter leader. And so some of the books actually, like, they just put out Sadie, which was one of the Florida teen reads from last year. But I'm going to focus on the Project Lit books. And I've gotten kids. I put up something on our website, something on the library website. And then I invited, after I made the Google Classroom, I just invited some of the kids who frequented the media center, who I felt like they might be kind of missing out on the interaction with me. So I started yesterday. I have four kids signed up already, which is pretty good for one day at Boynton High. So that's it.
Yeah, super. Well, and some of those titles will probably be in the library collections. Maybe I should shoot that list off to Adam Davis and drop a hint. If he's buying any more FTR, or YA, he should buy the Project Lit titles.
I'll share with you the because I put together similar to the other slide I did, but it has the links to the Project Lit titles.
Yeah, yeah. I've been watching it on Twitter, but I just didn't collect them. You know, I've just seen they've announced titles. So yeah, that'd be great. If you have a list already made, I'll push it to my contact at the public library and say, if you haven't purchased these, you know, this is something the schools are focusing on, and maybe they'll buy some of them or buy more copies.
Right. And Suzette just put it in the chat that today they announced Patron Saints of Nothing, which is an FTR title. So it seems like FTR and Project Lit are on similar wavelengths.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any other summer reading ideas they would love to share with us?
Yes, I wanted to tell you what Emerald Cove decided. I know we had talked last week that I was leaning very much towards just an extra credit. I'm afraid of mandatory too, but I lost. Our language arts department chair really wants to go mandatory. So we're making sure that at least a few titles in each grade level are available on Mac and Via. Hopefully that will avoid a lot of trouble with the kids not being able to afford or find the books. And then their project is just going to be a creative one-pager. As Nora said, though, her deadline is the end of September. I'm really hoping that ours is not the first week of school, as it is during a normal year. But the lists of the books that they have 5 or 6 titles to choose from per grade level. And I'm pretty happy with what they've come up with. I did sneak a few of our new SSYRAs on there, but many of the titles that they wanted were former SSYRA books. So those are already on Mac and Via. I'm keeping my fingers crossed and hoping that it goes well.
Okay, we have a slide coming up. This is for Amy and for everyone. That's just a quick form you can fill out to share your school's summer reading list. So we have them, and also so we can alert the public library and share them. Everyone, we'll share the whole folder with everyone. Was actually Tony Lipsher made this point to me that she would love to have her feeder schools, her feeder middle schools lists, and she would promote it to her 5th graders before they leave, the online world with her. And so we're collecting. So that slide's going to come up, and then Lisa's going to send it out again so that everybody can it's real quick to just attach your files. So, and then
I've already contacted.
We have our fingers crossed that we will be allowed in July with the FY21 budget to buy Mac and Via titles. So, I mean, we don't know. It's not a promise. We're praying for it. So if it happens, we will do it and we'll let you know. And that'll give the kids, maybe we'll look at lists like yours, Amy, make sure that we have extra money beyond. Yeah.
Well, one title that I absolutely loved that's on the new SSYRA is Game Changer. I read the book in probably 90 minutes. It's a super high interest, easy read. And it has a very affordable multi-user license from Mac and Via. So I'm going to contact my bookkeeper in the next couple days about how I go about. I've never bought a book for Mac and Via, so I'm not really sure of the process of how that all works. But I'm sure it's easy. But I mean, it was super reasonable, under $20 for a multi-user license. So we'll definitely be using that one.
Yeah, and you could
mention too.
Yeah,
I've been in contact with our 2 main feeder schools, Equestrian Trails right next door to us, and Eldridge Gale. And the Eldridge Gale media specialist was really, really supportive of doing whatever she wanted us to have a mandatory summer reading program. And Equestrian Trail said, "Oh, good luck. I'm not really comfortable with this," but I know that she will be very, happy to help get that information to the 5th graders. We have our 5th grade, incoming 6th grade orientation with Equestrian later this week with the guidance counselor.
Good.
I've also contacted Dana at Barnes & Noble. Dana's anxiously awaiting our final list, and she's going to put together an order for anybody who wants to, and then we'll get a 5% profit off of anybody who buys that way for us.
Yeah, so that's good. That was wonderful. Yeah. Alonzo's asking about buying things. Yes, there is a budget freeze. Just work through your bookkeeper and your administrator just to pose the question. And if it's a small order, perhaps they would consider it. But yet you are correct. There is a budget freeze and you have to fill out a waiver to make a purchase. So with Mackin, you just go on Mackin.com and you can make a list and the information's there. You can call in and make the purchase with your P card. If it's under $1,000, but you need to start with permission from your principal because it involves a waiver. Don't order and then try to get a waiver, because that wouldn't be fair to Mackin. But it's just something to take up with them, especially like that one copy of that book that's on for Amy that's on the list. That makes perfect sense. Buy a multi-user title for $20. So.
Yeah, that was the only one on the Sunshine State list that had a multi-user.
Yeah, and you might want to nab it before the publisher wakes up and takes that option away. Because once the Sunshine State and FTR,
I thought worst case
across the country, and so publishers take notice, and they might yank that option back so they can make a little more money.
Yeah,
I even
the good news is
oh, go ahead.
So I was going to say the good news is as I'm going through and creating these lists with hot links to the public libraries, I am noticing that the Mandel is buying between 5 and 10 copies of each of them as ebooks. And some of them are even available on Hoopla, but most of the books are available through either the Mandel or the Palm Beach County Public Library. So those will be options.
Great.
I noticed Karen said it's so inexpensive you might buy it with your own money. In the case of Mac and Via and our Mac and Via shelf, you have to use district fund in order for them to appear on our single sign-on Mac and Via platform. It's the way ebook purchasing works. If you were to make an ebook purchase to Mackin with personal funds, they would be setting up a separate little shelf just for that purchase.
Okay,
so
I won't do that then.
It has to be a district purchase. Internal funds, you can use your P card and have the bookkeeper reconcile it to the internal funds. But again, this is all about waivers and permission. Lead money, talk to your bookkeeper. That's a whole different thing because I'm not completely clear on the lead money rules. It's changed a lot since, and I only had it for 1 year before I left school base. So there, Elizabeth says you can donate it to the internal account. Anyway, the bottom line is it's just a suggestion from us. Check with your bookkeeper, ask about the waiver process, talk to your administrator. Yeah, but don't buy Mac and Via ebooks with your own money, with your own credit card. That won't work.
So, any other summer reading ideas before we move on?
Hi, it's Kelly from Krista.
Hi, Kelly from Krista.
I don't have a 100% decision yet, but we're thinking optional as well. Because we don't want to leave Manatee hanging and Crystal Lakes hanging. Normally, I would have packets dropped off by now and a choice of books to read and a choice of projects to do. But it's because of this crazy time, we're leaning towards optional. And I asked for permission to maybe give away some books this summer to inspire kids to read. In my Google Classroom, they would fill out a form on what book they're reading and maybe a little summary or something. And then I'll have a drawing and then maybe once every 2 weeks, give away a book or a little gift card to inspire them. And then this week, can you see? Am I walking around too much? This week, I'm going around and giving this to our million word readers. I'm going to plant this in their yard. Isn't that cute?
I love it.
Yeah. Because, we had some 3 million word readers, but we cut it off at the date of the last day of school to try and make it fair, I guess, which is March, what was it, March 13th? I don't think anybody really went on reading counts after that anyway. So, I mean, we're trying to get them and inspire them to read, but just so weird.
Yeah.
It is weird.
So that's all we're going to do. I am going to meet with the principal or today to maybe do a little Google Hangout with him today and get his feelings on everything. But I'm pretty sure that's the way he was leaning too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should all keep an eye out. We're all good at this at Twitter and so on, and see what comes up this summer. There may be authors reading these books. Fame's good about getting them to read on Facebook and so on. So, you know, keep that in mind and push that out to your students as best you can during the summer. At least maybe they get a taste of the book or get interested.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the title.
I got about 400 kids in my Google Classroom, which I was surprised to even have that many. But I'm also going to ask the principal to send out a school-wide email with my code and try and get even more. And we'll see where it goes from there.
That's great. All right. Anyone else want to share their summer reading plans, if they have any?
So Wellington High School looks like they're kind of going business as normal with required reading for various classes. But a small victory is that I convinced 3 of the classes. One's doing Dear Martin, one's doing the 57 bus, and one's doing the Poet X. So at least those are available on Mac and Via. That's my small victory.
Hey, small victories are important, right?
Yeah.
We'll take it.
And they're great books.
So yeah, well, yes, of course, I agree. And just to confirm though, because I like many of you, I'm not very good with the I'm not as familiar with Mac and Via. I'm learning it more now in this situation. But if they just click like the open now and read it online, that doesn't take up one of the licenses, right? Or one of the checkouts?
Well, it monopolizes that copy until they close it, if that's what you're asking. If it's a 21 checkout book, yeah, if you turn pages for long enough, it counts. But but we have very few of the 21 checkouts anymore. We sort of avoided, you know, buying them, I think, the year Nolan was doing it. I'm not sure.
Okay, I have to go back.
Even if it's 21 checkouts, we bought 25 licenses of that book, all of which click from your kid's shelf. So 121 checkout book is gone. The others.
I thought if they just opened it and they didn't hit checkout, like it was still kind of safe.
No, and most of them are not 21 checkout.
Okay.
I don't think you can do open now on a 21 checkout. I think you have to hit the checkout button now that I think about it.
Holly, I think you're correct on that. I remember checking some things on
in the first iteration of Mac and Via. If you opened it and stayed in it long enough, it counted, but they changed it. If it just has a checkout button, that means it's a 21 checkout title.
So like I'm looking at 57 bus and I see open now or checkout.
No, we bought that book. We own it. We own that license. It'll just stay there.
Okay, perfect. Okay. All right. All right, thanks.
All right. Anyone else want to share? Otherwise, we'll move on. All right. So, Holly, do you want to take this?
Yeah, let me just say we're not going to read through this. We sent it out through an email. All I want to say about this discussion of things that somebody saw on sites, it wasn't specific. We did not get a list site by site, page by page, item by item of things that weren't working. But it was to such an extent that we thought we would just share it out and say, hey, everybody, just take another quick look at your site and check for things that aren't working in the share settings or maybe some typos, just take another quick look. The great news is your sites are getting huge traffic because, at least from leadership, other administrators, and outside people. Tasha Pert in EdTech presented as part of a presentation she did. She showed the public librarians the virtual library page so they could see all the libraries, and that's kind of how some of this was discovered. It's just a suggestion to take another quick look. Like any document, you know, it's tough to proofread, and sometimes the share settings can be confusing. If you want parents and people outside of the Palm Beach County Schools domain to see your page, you need to go in and choose the setting that says anyone with the link can view. If you are happy with, and your administrator prefers that only your teachers and your students can see the site, then leave it on anyone in Palm Beach County Schools can view with the link. But just check your share settings and make sure they work for you and your school community. And be aware that unless you put it on totally public, people like the public librarians and so on, they can't see the site. And that is up to you. It's your library. Documents that you want teachers and students to be able to open and download, you do have to open those share settings enough for them to at least see the document. So just double check your share settings and make sure they are created so that even your teachers and students can see those documents, because you can set it too tight, and that's why you get those request permission emails that are like being pecked up by chicken. So you can stop that by opening it up to the school district. So this went out in an email. These were attachments to the email. And again, they're here in the slides for you to look at later. Nothing to angst over, and in no way, please, some people misunderstood my message and felt it was a criticism, and it isn't. It's just the fact of putting something out there and knowing that somebody looked at it and said, you know, check for some errors. So your sites are amazing. And like I said, you're getting a lot of exposure because you have those sites. So it's a win-win. So those are just there to help you take a double check. Polish it up if you need to.
Absolutely. And if you are in the works of making one, please send it to me so that I can add it to our website, and I can add it to the list of sites that will be published on the district summer reading website, because they are making a library media page and they do want to showcase your virtual libraries.
Yep, more exposure, yay!
So
consider, you know, putting something out there for summer reading or making a page to advertise what your school is doing, because it's going to get views.
It totally is. We will send this out in an email, but if you wouldn't mind to share your summer reading ideas with us in this form, it's a great way for us to put them all in one place, and then we will share that out with you, so that if you are looking for a summer reading idea, you can pick from one of the ones that people are already doing and tweak it for your school population.
Yeah.
And along those lines,
we were talking about uploading your reading list. This form has a spot to upload a PDF document for us, so we have your exact list. That's the difference between the two forms. And this one's super easy. Your school level, your list, you're done. And thank you.
We appreciate it. The three forms that we're talking about will literally take 5 minutes at the most. So no big time suck, just great appreciation from us for taking the time to fill it out. Next Tuesday, May 19th at 2:30, Kim Davik is going to be here with us from Teaching Books, and she's going to discuss ways to use teaching books to enhance your library program.
I threw this slide in here 2 minutes before we went online. Those two graphics link to one to the teen reads and one to the 6-8 lists. When you get this as a PDF, I hope that still works. I did it kind of fast. If not, go to teachingbooks.net and log in as an educator. You click the toggle menu at the upper left, and your login is your school district email and any password that you want to make up. And once you do that, you can get to these, it'll say your lists, and you click that and it'll show you these lists. And in these lists, there's items you might want to use on your pages. You might want to link to them to advertise your summer reading lists, or other pleasure reading, or just advertising the teen reads and on the 6-8 list. The great thing about the Teaching Books resource that we pay for, if you use the correct share button, and it's always the bigger orange, sort of orangish red curved arrow symbol that says share next to it, those links, not only are they permalinks, but they make that resource open to anybody who clicks the link. So your parent that doesn't have a portal login, your kid doesn't have to log in for to get to it. From that link just basically gives that resource away. And that's really tremendous what Teaching Books does. So if you want to link, there's book trailers for some, there's read alouds, there's vocabulary lists for some, there's all kinds of resources, depends on the book. But you may find something that would catch your kids' attention. So give that a try. And Kim will be here next week, and she'll talk about all that stuff. So join us on the 19th, and she's going to talk about the changes that are coming in Teaching Books, these lists, some more custom lists we're going to try to make that support our Mac and Via collection. We're working on changing the sign-in process. A lot of stuff's coming for Teaching Books, so try to join us on the 19th if you can, or watch the recording that Lisa will so kindly send out and post.
Absolutely. And I just saw in the chat that Karen, you can't just put a link to Teaching Books. You need to put links from Teaching Books. We want teachers to access Teaching Books and you to access Teaching Books in your portal. And as you're sharing resources from Teaching Books, you'll see an orange share link, and that would be the link that you use. If you have questions with that, pop in on tomorrow, and I will be happy to help you with that in the tech help session. Go ahead, Casey.
If we're using the Sunshine State Reader Books list, that's one of them that we're going to work from. Do you want us to tell you that just so that you know that we're using that, or?
Yeah, that would be great, I think.
Okay, I just didn't want to.
Yeah, if we know 50% of our schools have assigned the Sunshine State, I'll give the public library a heads up. Hey, you know, we're going to have great participation. We've got this many schools. They've assigned them for the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That'd be great.
All right. So Allegra sent me a copy of her virtual bookshelf, and it got me thinking and making, and I've made these for the summer reading site. Allegra was kind enough to share hers with us, and I put it on our library current page under the Bitmoji tutorials. But I made these virtual bookshelves, one for Sunshine State 6 to 8 and one for the high school one. And they link out to book trailers. And then there's a link to the library from them. And I'm going to share them out with you. If you want to use them for your virtual sites, you can tweak them as you want. Use them, don't use them. We just wanted to put them out there for you guys. And when you get the slides, you'll get a link to the bookshelves, and it'll make a copy for you so that you can edit it to your liking. But thank you to Allegra for the inspiration to make these. They're super fun to make, and if you haven't played with the Bitmoji scenes, they are so much fun. And it's a great way to inject some of your own personality into your website.
Okay, so this is our last form, and we are planning ahead. This is 3 or so questions. They're all yes, no. It will take you 30 seconds to say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. It will help us out. It's some things we're thinking about. We're all trying to figure out what's coming next in this new world of whatever we have to look forward to. So it's just some things we're ruminating on. So if you could do that one. And when Lisa sends out her follow-up email to this session, she does a wonderful job of including, she'll summarize the 3 links where we need answers, and she'll send you the PDF and the recording of this session. So you don't have to do it right this second, but you could grab it watch for her email and grab it later if you want to do it at a different time. But we really appreciate any responses we can get. And this is probably a good time just to mention, I know that you guys have summer coming up, and a much deserved break from leaning over a laptop for hours. And we wish you a great summer. But if you could maybe just keep one eye, an occasional eye on your inbox during the summer months. We're going to be formulating whatever we're told to formulate for next year. And so we'll be sending that information out as we can. And so nothing demanding, just trying to keep you guys informed. So if you do a check on your email every once in a while, if you want to keep up with what we're trying to put together for fall. And of course, I'm sure you'll get everyone will get information from their administrator as well over the summer, like days to report and all the things you're doing now. So, but we're trying to formulate things for the fall. So we'll keep you posted when we can.
Holly, there's a question in the chat that you might want to take from Debbie Siegel. She said she received a survey from Junior Library Guild, and she told Kurt that funds are frozen until further notice, but she's not sure what direction we will take going forward for purchases, and any ideas for a change into going to ebooks with Mackin.
Okay, well, we're already, I'm assuming that last line of your question meant changing from Mackin via ebooks to the Junior Library Guild streaming ebook collection.
I think other way around, Debbie. Changing from streaming to Mackin via.
Actually, I didn't do the streaming because it takes up too much bandwidth if we're going to be doing testing, but who knows what's going to happen with testing in the future. Actually, you were correct in saying that I want to go into more of an ebook format. Having the virtual library, I think, would be so much more beneficial, like I did with my reference books. We're getting phenomenal hits with that still, and we'll be doing that. And I think rather than putting books on shelves where people may not be able to come, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball, none of us do. But I think it would be essential to make that leap and start going into an ebook format with Mackin.
Right. So here's the way Mackin, there's a couple of factors that are definitely, they're true today and they will be true in the fall. We have a Mackin via platform. It is already single sign-on. We make purchases a certain way so that we make a purchase for every school. You can make a purchase and it will appear and be accessible only on your school's shelf. This is already organized by Mackin. I agree, regardless of our setting next year, we need to look to our online collections of books, even though, you know, there is an equity issue and that's a side issue, but not a side issue, a separate problem that has to be solved. But contemplating and creating fiction collections in Mackin via is an excellent way to think about spending your money when you can. We were going to discuss this at preschool because it hasn't actually gotten completely finalized. But some sad news about Junior Library Guild. The district has pursued having its own county bid for library and textbook materials. That bid process has closed, and the list of vendors has changed slightly. And just a short explanation of the way the bid process works. Number one, our department is forbidden by law to speak to the vendors about the bid process, to say, oh, don't miss this, here, go to this link, be sure you get on this bid. We could be fined or whatever. It's forbidden. We got a serious talk from purchasing. Do not interfere with the bid process. So I'll say that first. There is a way that this gets advertised out, and they all have an equal opportunity to apply for the bid, and everyone that applied got accepted. Our friends at Junior Library Guild, for whatever reason, missed it. And it is extremely sad that we will no longer be able to purchase from Junior Library Guild for the next 5 years, because it's a 5-year bid and they have missed out on our business for 5 years. So the fact that the streaming is free, and that's fine, that doesn't influence anything. Yeah, oh no, Suzette. I know, and I knew you guys would be freaked. I'm not even sure if they even realize what they've missed. Yes, we were brokenhearted. It is an exceptional service. It is unique. And yeah, it's a 5-year bid. So, but it's really on them. They missed it somehow. And like I said, we were not allowed to call all our vendors and go, don't miss this. We're doing a bid. We're not allowed. So, so anyway, we'll have that final list in the fall and that discussion about who you can purchase from. For the most part, you'll be happy, but that's the big one that's like, you're kidding me, right? But we've been doing business from the district level with them for quite a while. And I have to be honest with you, there was some sort of change in management this past fall, and they became a totally different company to work with. They overlapped stuff. They made mistakes. They didn't understand what our setup was. It was a mess. It's like it all fell apart or something. So I'm not surprised they missed it. Change
Sharon.
structure. Anyway.
Sharon just threw out in the chat. She asked, what happens if she already renewed for next year? That may be
whatever gets paid by the end of May. Okay, or it went through the purchasing process, then they will owe you that. We have subscriptions that run through December that were paid last, and Debbie's nodding her head. She has one as well. You will get that material.
Thank you. You will get that material. Because mine goes through, I think, end of September, beginning of October. So
right. You paid for that.
They'll fulfill that. I know they will fulfill that.
You'll get that. You just can't make any new purchases.
Fine. That's it. Then I'm going Mac and Via.
So Sharon, if your purchase order went through, you're golden. You'll get the stuff. If it, if it's past the bid time, purchasing will take care of that, and they'll cut that off because they're not on the bid. Yeah, but you will get the material they owe you. I mean, we owe material for schools that we support that don't have a media specialist, and the books are sitting somewhere in Ohio in a warehouse.
Yeah, and Amy just said,
Amy, you can use SLJ and they're a connected company, by the way, but that's the reviewing arm is SLJ. So yeah, look for reviews there and watch some of the spotlighted articles and some of the announcements, and you'll see, you can even see Junior Library Guild's ads and pick the same things that they're advertising. You don't have to buy them from them.
Yeah, and Karen Pattero was asking if there's another subscription service. I believe both Follett and Mackin have subscription services. It's just not quite the same as Junior Library Guilds, where you are guaranteed that all of the titles will be very highly reviewed.
And the unique part about Junior Library Guild is that they did their reviews when the book is in galley form months before it publishes, and they work it so that you get that book the month it's published. The other subscription services are there for the convenience of you can set it up and the books flow in, but it's not necessarily, you know, as new as what Junior Library Guild could do. With Follett and Mackin, I think in a lot of ways you're better off doing a huge, you know, expending your with a do not exceed PO that lets them fill it up. But you can make that call. Look at the subscription service and see what you think you're getting for it. But think about, you know, the newer the pub date, the better in some things, not necessarily fiction, but you know, don't just take anything because it's a subscription. And it's really not equal to what Junior Library Guild was doing. So
right. And Elizabeth,
audio was the same way. So, some percentage of it was really new.
So, and Amy just put up there is if you're using Tidal Wave, you can use their advanced search and choose a minimum number of reviews, and you can include the SLJ reviews. You can narrow it down to the reviews that you want. And Elizabeth just put out there that if you want to read books before they come out, to apply for a Edelweiss and NetGalley.
Yeah, and you can read them before they come out.
And then Deb Speck said she does what Amy is doing, but then she orders from Mackin because that's her preferred vendor. So
yeah.
We were very disappointed about Junior Library Guild, but it is what it is, and we're going to move forward from there. Deb also put in that she's using Yalsa for their top picks, which is a great way to get highly reviewed YA titles.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we heard about another service this week called Shelfaware. You might look that up and subscribe to Shelfaware. That has a lot of new, but keep in mind that's the whole book world, you know, adult and YA and kids. But. Right.
And on that same topic, Book Pulse from Library Journal. Also, the whole world, but they do a lot of YA.
Yep. And I get a lot of good insight information, but I've got a bunch of different newsletters I subscribe through Book Riot. Look up Book Riot and custom subscribe to different lists. And you can also do Penguin Random House has a whole bunch of newsletters you can subscribe to from everything, and it's curated like adult literary fiction, YA, so on. And they send you newsletters about different titles and announcements about new stuff. Simon & Schuster does the same thing. They have a whole bunch of newsletters. So try those. Book Riot, Shelfaware, Book Pulse.
Yep. Lisa Petrosha just threw out there that she wants to know if the district has said we can place orders for next year come July 1st using next year's budget. No. But as of yet, no.
We have absolutely no information except everything's frozen and the budget predictions are dismal, as Julie put in the chat. That is the only information we have.
Yeah, my principal just got on the call with Noel, and he said no one should spend anything. Just
nope. That's
nothing.
It's you know, I think
really bad. She said
it's very bad. I know. I think I said this a couple, you know, into this situation a couple of our webinars ago. We begged, pleaded, we asked Diana Fetterman to let us buy Mac and Via books for spring. We asked her to let us buy them when we closed, just to put books out there. We begged to the point of she got pissed off at us. And it was no, no, and no, because it's that bad. I mean, we had to stop asking because we really made her mad at us. not mad, annoyed. You know, we
Right.
did it to the point of annoying her. So it is dismal. So it's very dismal. And so what our hope is that the funds that we do that with come to us from the state legislature. That's the state media allocation that we do a lot of that with, either through textbooks or through library media. So as you know, write your congressman, your Florida representatives and say, you know, please make sure that the state media allocation stays in place and support our school libraries, and we can use that to buy digital resources even if we're teaching from home. Please don't cut it just because you think we're not in our physical libraries. That'd be a really, and I can get in trouble for doing an advocacy speech like that. So don't tell anybody you heard it from me. Anything political we can get in trouble for, but I would write your representatives and say, please don't discount the state media allocation just because we might not be standing in our physical libraries. We have ebook platforms to support as well.
Right.
You know, that's the hope, is that money will come through, and then we'll be, it's categorical. So if the state gives it to us, we should be allowed, instructional materials should be allowed to use it. But well, sometimes I get some of that money, Deb. It just depends on, you know.
Yeah, it's as of right now, nobody from Library Media Services, Elizabeth, has contacted Keith to ask him to please not allow principals to trade off Library Media Services positions. Holly, do you have any more information on that?
No, I think it's basically, I think that information's being kept close to the vest, if you will, above us, because every time I inquire, there's a sort of a non-answer, if you will. Either they haven't made the decision or they're keeping it private. And honestly, I think at this point, maybe the decisions would be made above the principals in terms of budget cuts. And I'm sure that any teaching position is going to be last on the list to consider a budget cut. Because regardless, I mean, they need every educator out there to help the kids online if that's what it comes to. So hopefully it won't be allowed. Keith has always, he has supported us really strongly. Now, I will tell you this, just from observation, and there are schools that they have complied with Mr. Oswald. They have a media specialist, quote, but they are teaching a content area all day long, and they do not engage with us at all. To the point that I have several that when we call and ask who their media specialist is every fall, they tell us that person, and that person has never asked for Destiny admin training. They do not have a Destiny admin sign-on. They do not come to any trainings. They do not engage in any of the things we request via email, but they are, if you call the school and ask, that's our media specialist. And so that's how they're getting around that. They have one. Yes, Mr. Oswald, we have one. I'll just tell you that. Loophole. Exactly, Elizabeth. And because he has become a very strong supporter. He was thrilled when he saw the virtual library site, and he tweeted about it. So, exactly, Amy. So, but definitely, EMA is in a position to write that kind of letter. I'm sure if there's some discussion, I'm sure Nolan will do his best to, he's closer to that budget process, but we're really all below it. So that's one reason those virtual library sites are so important. You guys are doing things. You're supporting the school. You are supporting kids. You are asking to buy ebooks. You are pointing to the resources, and making yourself valuable. They need you now more than ever. Make that pitch to your principal. You know, you're the person that's going to help the kids use resources remotely to do their research and so on. So, you know, keep making that pitch because you're the person.
I mean, what you guys have done in this short amount of time is absolutely amazing. Just to see what you've put out there for your students and what you're doing for your students puts a smile on my face every day.
So we'll just have to, you know, keep it out there. Keep showing what you're doing. Get actively involved in whatever the summer push out is that you can. And be that person that, oh, you want to find an article on XYZ, I'll find it for you. Or I'll show you how to use Gale, or I'll do a deep search on the internet and find you something. And, you know, make those connections. And
so it's more important than ever before to make your work visible. And particularly when we're not in our physical spaces, our work can be invisible, and the more visible you can make yourselves, the better it is.
Mm-hmm.
And we will do our best to promote your virtual libraries and all of the amazing work that we know that you're doing.
And just, you know, again, just some background observation. I've had different people, different media specialists contact, you know, like way after we started doing this, and say, my principal says I need a website. What do I do? Well, that principal didn't wake up and go, wow, you know, we should have a virtual library site because they understand libraries. They went to some meeting where Keith Oswald said, you should see these virtual library sites. Your school should have one. That happens all the time. They go to AP or principal meetings and they get a speech from somebody like Mr. Oswald or Ms. Fetterman, and then their pants are on fire to have what everybody else has. So I know the word has gotten out there just because of the people coming back around and going, my principal said I had to do this. And so I know they got the idea from it being publicized from above. So that was a sign to me that, you know, you guys are getting, you know, traction at the upper level. So, you know, keep it up. Put something shiny out there for summer support. You know, move it to the front of your page or whatever. You know, keep reading over the summer, and I'll see you in the fall, and I don't know.
Yep. And tomorrow I think I put it out there, from 10 to 12, we're having a virtual help session. So if you need technical help with that, please just pop in. I'm happy to help. You can share your screen with me. I'll walk you through the process. We want to help you as much as we can with these virtual sites. So if you need help, please just pop in tomorrow and ask away. We are here to help.
And Mike did put a point in the chat just now that the following year's budget, the FY21 budget, will also be problematic, and that is correct, because it just takes a while for all of that to hit. Yeah. Hopefully it'll be better than we think, you know, that things are opening up. Maybe they'll start getting tax revenue and we'll do better than we think.
Fingers crossed.
We really appreciate you guys being here. Do we have any more slides? Was that it? I can't remember now. We got to talking about money and it made me sad.
That was it.
Okay, we got it all then. So, flip back to the Smackdown slide for a second. So just as another advertisement for Adobe Spark, I made that in Adobe Spark. I don't know if you guys noticed. It's got the book covers from FTR. Adobe Spark is such a useful tool. I know Lisa has promoted it a lot. So along with your Bitmoji scenes, but there's a lot of ways you can make some easy promotional stuff for the summer in either one. So just, put something out there, see what happens. We've got your back. We're doing the best we can. So stick with us.
All right. With that, I'm going to end the recording. If anyone has anything else, just let us know.
Lisa, can you stay on for a minute? And Holly, I just wanted to ask another question.